15 seconds. But I'm gonna go ahead and open it up, 15 seconds. And ordinarily, we open with a pledge of allegiance and a prayer, but I found out that there's a chaplain here, and if she'll come up and open us up with a prayer, we'd appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for standing. Let's bow together. Father God, Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you, Father, that we are in your presence at all times. Lord, help us to remember that, Lord, and maintain honor, peace, and decorum, Father. Lord, we love you. Lord, we're here to do your business for your community. Father, thank you, Lord, for the rights that you have given us, the privileges, Lord, that you have given us first to worship you and to fulfill your will, Lord, to meet together as a people in freedom, Lord, able to make decisions, Father, for the well-being of our community, for our hospital, for everyone concerned. Lord, we just praise you and give you glory in all things. Thank you for everyone that is here, for the board, Lord, and for the public, Lord. We just thank you, Lord, that everyone is involved and everyone is interested, Lord, in what is happening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. And thank you, because I dumped that on her without her knowing about it.
It's okay. I can pray anytime.
Good Lord's above.
Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the Texas.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Okay. That got us past the 15 seconds? No. Okay. Consider for approval and take appropriate action the minutes for the May 24th, 2024 general session meeting. Need a motion to approve them or any suggestions?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay. Need a second? Any discussion? Sure, Nanette?
We weren't.
Nanette has been very good about correcting any minutes in the past, so.
But I was here about
And we try to have a little bit of fun, not just like giving birth to a sharp-edged baby. Okay. No discussion on the minutes of May 24th, 24. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, advance. Thank you very much. Okay, unfinished business. 3.1, discuss and take appropriate action, jail inmate concerns. Sheriff Deeds.
This month, we got a little bit more problems than we did last month, but we've got one male inmate with HIV, so that medicine is pretty expensive, over $5,000 a month. We have a female with arthritis, and she takes a shot once a month, and that's $8,000. And then other medication for a total of about $3,000. And they're looking to try to find a cheaper way to get the medicine for her. We've got one pregnant female, so those always end up when they go for checkups and different things. Costing us some at this point, she's just pregnant. Then we have one male with no legs, and he's a bad diabetic. I got to check on him, he's a misdemeanor. Person that's been here since February, and he stuck under the radar for the county attorney, so I'm gonna work to try to get him handled and out, and then he's got a hold for felony warrants out at Tarrant County, so hopefully we'll get rid of that one pretty quick. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Have any questions for Sheriff?
Tell with the leg issue, he's been here for how many months now?
It was February 22nd when he got here. And that's not uncommon for somebody working on a felony charge, but he's in here for misdemeanor. And when I talked to Mr. Mills, he said that when he looks at the jail list, he's listed as having a felony, but he does out of Tarrant County, it's not here. So that's why that one kind of went under the radar. So kind of pointed out, so hopefully we'll get a day agreement or get him one to trial date or something to keep him out here as quick as we can. So Somebody said, why don't I PR him out? Well, he's a sex offender, so I'm not gonna do it.
I hear you.
So, we'll get him fixed up and took care of.
Thank you.
Okay, I need a motion to accept the sheriff's report.
Make a motion to accept it.
Okay.
Second.
And second was Mr. Andrews. Any questions? Any comments? There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none, passes. Okay, thank you. And Sheriff, if you need to go take care of business, we understand.
I'll stick around.
You got a lot of stuff to take care of. Okay. 4.1, consider for approval and take appropriate action, financial reports. Bowden and Tanner. Justin Bowden?
Nothing specific. Do I need to move over there? I'll just.
Yeah, come up here. We're
No,
gonna
it's
talk
getting
loud.
formal. I'm Justin, for those that don't know me, Justin Bowden. So, there's nothing specific to draw your attention to this month. It was pretty much business as usual. We had about 77.5 go out, 77,500 go out, and approximately $4,300 come in during the month. One thing that I guess is slightly different is based on the voting. Last month, we issued scholarships. So those show up in the amount of $7,500 on the P&L, but that was per everybody's designation last month. There's still, I know the judge has more up-to-date numbers. Ours are as of May 31st. But the general fund at that time had about $575,000 in it, and the indigent fund had about $69,000 in it, which is still very much on par with your normal cash flow needs. To remind everybody and those that don't know, we've got an automatic transfer from the general fund to the indigent fund that happens towards the end of the month. And on average, that's usually pretty sufficient to cover whatever that month's needs are. We had built up a little bit of a cushion during parts of last year. So you're in good shape cash flow wise, based on what I'm seeing as of the end of May. Any questions?
I do just, go ahead.
I was just gonna clear up on the scholarship. That's not coming out of general funds, that comes out of how restricted scholarship.
You're right, I apologize.
No,
Yes. So there was already restricted cash that's been carried on the balance sheet for as long as I've been here.
Yeah,
I
that
think.
money was given to the hospital district by PAL to use for scholarships, and that's all we can use it for, so
Yes,
there's
that's correct.
$15,624.61 of it, and we gave out $7,500 of it
During the month of May.
to people. Dr. Powell wanted medical type scholarships, that kind of thing, and that's what happened.
So, my question is about the, two things that were approved in the last couple of courts, the $50,000 that was approved for the McCall Law Firm, and the $10,000 for the, communications person. Where will we see that on the financial statements? It wasn't specifically budgeted for in our annual budget, so I was just wondering where we will see that.
So I can show that wherever you prefer. The law firm fees would show up as legal fees. And that'll show up, again, these are in arrears, this is as of through May 31st. So that'll happen in whatever month that the check is cut for it. And the other one was a communications.
Is that how you communications consultant? Is that how you would classify?
Hadley?
Mhm.
That was for getting the information out to the public for the potential for taxation.
So we just cut that check a couple of days ago. So it will show up in the month of June. We've never had that before, so unless y'all have a preference on how it's shown, I can either put it as outside services, which is kind of a catch-all, or we can add a separate line item, and we can call it whatever you prefer. That's probably a good question, so that I get it how you want it, and we don't have to go back and change it.
Well, we do have $14,000 in the budget for legal expenses, but not legal fees, so will that just show in the budget is that we went over the
Mhm.
budget?
Yeah, and so the budget, and we'll probably, either next month or the month after, we'll come up with a proposed budget for y'all to pick apart and vote on, but, as Christie puts it so eloquently, it's a guess. It's based on what we've seen in the past. And if you know that there's something coming up, or like if there's $50,000 expense this year that won't come up next year, then we try to back that out. But it's basically just a target. So if you go over, it's one of those where it is what it is, at least as far as what I'm doing on it.
So the additional expenses that are going to be there that weren't budgeted for, those just get backfilled from the general fund?
Yes, I mean, ultimately, everything's coming out of the same source. So whether it was budgeted for or not, if y'all are voting on it, it's coming from the same sources.
We didn't answer his question.
I'd like to see it as a line item. I'd like to see that these expenses as a line item that we're paying for the communication.
I think that's a good idea.
The vote. If that's possible, yes.
Because I apologize, our secretary is not here today, so I'm having to do it all, so.
You'd like to see things, so you'd like to see any expense relative to the tax?
Yes, as a line item.
As a line item. That makes sense.
I think it makes it a lot clearer if that's there.
I don't disagree. I'm all for more detail when it's warranted. So do you have a preference on what it's literally worded?
We have to make sure that the word tax is in there somehow. And then, if it's associated with a communications expense or tax.
What about like tax communications campaign?
No, campaigns are
What? Sorry, I don't run for election, I guess that's it.
I mean,
I don't either.
Bond election expense as a big category, and then the line items underneath it.
It wouldn't be bond.
Okay, you're right, so, good point.
Tax election expenses.
Well, it has to do with the legislative making mandates upon the Hood County Hospital District. So these are legally mandated where we have to take care of the indigent. It's just like last month with the sheriff, he had no outside expenses. We didn't have the $5,000 of cancer treatment, didn't have the $3,000 diabetic treatment. You never know how to budget for that. That just comes up. That's what we're saying. You never know what it's gonna be. But what Pavlik and Association is doing is to ascertain the facts to determine the legislative mandate for the Hood County Hospital District to take care of the indigent. And we also gonna have it where we're gonna help out the ambulance service here in Hood County. So I think it really deals with, it's almost legal in my mind on the thing. Of course, they're not a legal entity, but it's dealing with mandated from the state expenses that the hospital district has to cover.
What about reinstitute ad valorem tax? I mean, that is too long, what I was gonna say is too long. Because I wanna get to his point of that it's,
I like the
the
word.
indigent care that's required.
Or you put mandated somewhere in there.
Yeah. Mandated service.
Tax election
by the state.
expenses for mandated services?
Yeah, mandated services, there you go.
Okay. Oh, hi, I'm Linda Pavlik.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
nice to
Yeah,
meet you.
okay, I was going to suggest, because you're right, reacting to the word campaign, it's not related, it's all fact-driven, so, it's communications in that we're organizing it, so to me, it's,
Informational?
I was gonna just say that, informational, information regarding, hospital district, obligations, legal obligations, or something.
Mandated legislative
Yeah, legislative, like I say,
obligations.
but,
That's what, I'd like everybody to understand this. You know, we're not getting any of it. This is what's mandated by the state that we have to pay. I was just telling the sheriff, another mandated type of deal is when some criminal comes into Hood County and kills a police officer and is indigent. We gotta buy that guy and pay for that guy's attorney. Boy, is that offensive to everybody? Really offensive. And Ms. Lewis on that, we don't like that at all, but that's what we have to do, it's just circumspect. So the indigent here in Hood County, we have to take care of it, the Hood County Hospital District does. And that runs about $65,000 a month on the average, is what it does. Doesn't it every month? What it contributes?
No, I got a few different variations. Were you writing one down, maybe? Okay, so I left off with tax election expenses for mandated services. We wanted to look up information.
Well, I think we need to make sure, because this is what you will see, the product that I'm delivering. It's factual data.
Yeah.
I mean, it could.
So do you have an idea?
Huh?
Do you want to propose?
Well, I was working through this, and I respect what the judge and what our commissioner was saying, but I just want to emphasize it's factual information, and there will be no, recommendations coming from what I'm presenting to you all to work with.
What did you say? I mean, what would I work?
Tax election expenses for mandated services.
Not tax election.
Well, I thought there's two different things here. One is the 50,000 legal fees, and I think that that's probably fitting for that one. Now, let's go to the communications.
Okay.
So are the legal fees tied to this as well? So if we left that, what I just rattled off, as your main category, and then had sub-accounts for communications and for legal expenses, would that work?
That sounds reasonable to me.
As long as we're not showing
Yeah.
as legal,
Wow. Okay.
active, yeah, okay.
Do we want to make a motion?
What direction there would be.
I don't think we have to, but
I'll just,
You got it.
suggest.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Put
have
that on
a
there.
main account that says tax election expenses for mandated services. The sub-account that's indented that will show clearly part of that, the legal fees and communications expense.
You need one, the chief.
I think that covers everything. That,
I'll make a motion that our financial reports reflect what Mr. Bowden just
And
mentioned.
I'll email you with those words later. And going back to the budget. Oh, have you all?
You got it, okay. Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay.
Going back
All
to
in
the
favor?
budget, that'll make it easy. I'm sorry.
No, your wording first. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, okay, the wording is fixed.
The budget, this will make it easy for anybody that looks at the budget and sees these expenses. That whole category wasn't budgeted for. So
Right.
it'll stick out like a sore thumb, but it's also gonna be something that's easily explainable on, this came up, but it needs to be.
It will be.
What else?
Next month.
That's it.
Okay, now we need to bless your report, your financial report.
I'll make a motion that we accept it.
Okay. Second. Okay. Terry first again. Jack got the second in before you did. Okay. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, God bless you. Thank you for putting up with us.
Make adjustments.
And if you need to go take care of business.
I'm gonna listen to the judge's report real quick, then I'll get back to work.
All right, 4.2, consider for approval and take appropriate action, reports from County Judge Massengill.
Okay.
Get away.
All right, we have 4 accounts at the First National Bank. This information is as of June the 13th of 2024, so yesterday. And it still shows the $15,624 that's in there for the scholarships, which we will take out. We've already written a check for $7,500 that will be there's actually gonna be $7,500 less than that, because we gave 3 $2,500 scholarships to students that were gonna study in the field of medicine. Okay. And in the indigent account, we have $104,680, but there are a number of checks that Justin has written, so by the end of the month, that account will be less than that, but since this is a meeting on June the, what's the day, 14th, it will be less, but that's as of June the 13th. It's $104,680.41. And then the general fund, it's $574,000, $95.69. And then we have another demand deposit that's always been there, $28,752. That stays the same. It's been that way forever. Then we have four securities that we still have. One is the treasury note in the amount of $149,132. And then we have a Fannie Mae note in the amount of $400,000 that doesn't, well, first of all, the T-bill doesn't mature until March the 31st of 2026. And that will be an amount of $150,000. Then we have the Fannie Mae security in the amount of $400,000 that doesn't mature until June the 17th of 2025, so that's a year from now. But the good news is that we have a $350,000 Fannie Mae security that matures on July the 2nd of 2024, that's next month, on July the 2nd, in the amount of $350,000. So with that $350,000 coming due next month, plus the amount that I just read off to you, the $574,000, that should give us at least 6 months where we've covered all the indigent bills and the expenses here. And then we have one other security from Fannie Mae that's $150,000 that becomes due on September the 24th of 2026. So all in all, we still have $1,050,000 worth of security. That's all we have. So that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the judge? Need a motion to accept this report? Okay, need a second?
Second.
Who was that? Thank you. Okay. Any questions? There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none, passes. Congratulations, your report got passed. All right. 4.3, consider for approval and take appropriate action, indigent operations. Krista.
For the month of May, we started with 71 clients in term 6. We received 32 applications with 29 approvals, 2 denials, 7 renewals, 1 pending, and 1 that became eligible for Medicaid. We ended the month with 66 clients on the program. As of today, we have 60 clients on the program. There were a total of 35 patients seen by Lakeside Physician Providers. For our jail inmates for the month of May, there were 14 applicants that were reviewed with 12 approvals and 2 denials. There were 19 inmates that either turned or released from custody.
Anybody have any questions? Okay. Need a motion to bless your report?
I so moved.
Okay, Judge.
I'll second.
Gary. Any questions? There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, it passes. Thank you very much, Krista, and thank you for what you're doing to take care of the indigent folks that we have to take care of because of state regulations. Thank you. All right, 4.4, LGMC CEO report. The CEO of the hospital, Kurt Junkins, is not here, but I have a report from him. Okay. Our biggest two updates are that we are excited that Dr. Levi Rice will be starting as an interventional cardiologist with us on June 24th. This is, of course, a big deal for us and the community as it helps bring more extensive interventional coverage to the area and allow patients to receive care locally. Second, our freestanding emergency department is getting closer day by day. We are currently planning to open the first or second week of September. Now, I'm assuming that that means September of 24, but it didn't say that, okay? But that is the report from the CEO at the hospital. Any questions? I have no answers, okay? That's it. Need a motion to accept his report?
Move.
Okay.
Second.
Commissioner Andrews, gotcha. Any questions? There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Being none, it passes. Thank you very much. Okay. 4.5, consider for approval and take appropriate action, annual audit report for the year ending September 2023 by Kim Knox. Kim does not have all the information she needs, but will have it for the July meeting, depending on when our July meeting ends up being. But she will have it in for us in July. So, no action needed there. We go on to the next one. 4.6, consider for approval and take appropriate action, North Central Texas Council of Governments donation. Judge? Do you know anything
No,
about
I
that
don't
now?
know anything.
Still no, okay.
We'll take all money though. If anybody wants to donate any money, we will gladly accept it. We cash everything that we get.
Okay, we will try to have more information.
Yeah, I will call them. I'm going to request it this afternoon. There'll be somebody there. I'll probably find out.
Okay. We have not had any more information sent to us as a hospital district about this. In previous years, we have made donations. In previous years, we've had money. This year, giving donations is gonna be questionable simply because we don't have unlimited funds and we're talking about taxation. But if this is important, then we will find a way to cover it also. But we'll get more information for the July meeting. Okay, so.
Oh, so I thought this was them donating to us.
No.
Them donating to the hospital. Well, they want a
We
donation from the
donate
hospital.
from the hospital district, yeah. It goes through the
Okay.
commissioner's court, yeah. Okay, do that one in July. Or August, whenever we get information from them.
Yeah.
Okay. 4.7, consider for approval and take appropriate action, reinstitution of the Hood County Hospital District tax. Now, I wrote this down that way. The way I should have put it was, make any reports, because we don't have to make any changes, because we have already written, last month, we voted to have a 2-cent tax per $100 valuation, and that will be on the election in November. What I intended to have under 4.7 is any reports or updates on tax stuff, tax information stuff. So, the young lady that is going to gather information about what we spend money on and why we'll need a tax, so that it can be given to the entire Hood County. Because the taxation is for the entire county of Hood, not just Granbury. So we have to mail out information and get information out on the newspaper, and not everybody in this county gets a newspaper. Maybe they should, but they don't. But we need to have a way to get information out so that people can make their own choice. You wanna vote no against the tax, that's your choice. But you need to have the information on why we are putting this out there and why we exist. So, I'll shut up now, and Ms. Pavlik, if you need to say anything.
I do not. I'm
Okay.
just working away.
You're still getting information
Yes, ma'am.
out, and not ready to show us anything that you're ready to send out to, not the entire world, but, okay, Hood County is the only part of the world that counts right now, so it will be to the entire world. Okay.
If you'd like to, we can move 412 up, because it's related, and pass this for along. Since it's related to the local options that are available.
Okay. Can we finish 4.7?
Sure.
Okay.
I just, if you wanted to move it, to talk about it related, we can wait till it comes up this fine.
There's no actions need to be taken for 4.7 about the Hood County tax, Hood County Hospital District tax, sorry, I misspoke. Okay, then we would ordinarily go to 4.8, but Commissioner Samuelson has asked that we go to 4.12.
Yes.
Okay, consider for approval and take appropriate action, local option exemptions available to the hospital district.
Yeah, so this goes along with that discussion. I was able to watch the video that was recorded for the last meeting, so I heard the discussion. Mr. Laws here, our chief appraiser, and the discussion was around the 2 cent, what we have all been talking about since I've been on this board for 1.5 years is that 2 cents equals about $1 million. But we were all thinking that we were comparing that to what 2 cents would bring to the county, which the commissioners are on this board as well, and we were not thinking about that this is a taxing entity, a separate taxing entity that doesn't have any exemptions elected. So as Mr. Law explained, the taxable value of what 2 cents will be with no exemptions is more in the neighborhood of 3.4, 3.5 million. So that's what the 2 cents will bring. So if we believe, as we've been saying, that what the board needs to operate is 2 million, then maybe we should consider some of the exemptions that are available. And as you guys know, or maybe not, the exemptions that are available are the over 65 exemption. There's a local option homestead exemption that's up to 20%. There's disability exemption, and then I'm sorry if you would answer now. What is the agriculture exemption? How does that work?
Well, no, I'll come up here.
Introduce yourself, sir.
Yeah, my name is Jeff Law. I'm the chief appraiser at the Hood Central Appraisal District. The hospital district does have the right to institute a type of exemption, tax exemption. And there are basically, I'll say 2 types. There's a local option exemption for homesteads, and when I don't want to sound like an age discrimination thing, but you have the younger folks and then you have the older folks, and you say 65 is that mark. So if you want to implement a homestead for everyone, you can implement a homestead exemption of a percentage of the value of the home. And it is anything from 0, basically, a little over 0 to up to 20%. There is a floor, though, that it would have to be a minimum of $5,000 exemption. So if you implemented a 0.1% homestead exemption, then the minimum would be 5,000. The other one is you can implement a local option exemption for people that are age 65 and older or disabled, and that one has to be a fixed amount. It would be a dollar amount, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 there. And within the law, there is no limit on the fixed amount. There is a limit on the percentage, and that is 20%. That would basically, if you had a person that had a $400,000 house, and you said we're going to give a 10% tax exemption, then $40,000 of that house would be exempted. So instead of paying the 2-cent tax rate on a $400,000 house, you'd pay a 2-cent tax rate on $360,000. I didn't do the math, and I have a strict rule of not doing math in public on the fly. I won't use a calculator. If you were to come back and say, well, let's give a $10,000 exemption on an over 65 home. Again, using a $400,000 home, a $10,000 exemption, instead of paying 2-cent tax on $400,000, you pay 2-cent tax on $390,000. And I did do the math on that one. The tax on a $400,000 house unexempted would be about $100, and the tax on a $390,000 with a $10 exemption would be about $98. You would save the person basically $2. You could have a higher exemption amount on the fixed amount for 65 and disabled. Now, the disabled veterans, those exemptions are determined by state law. Those individuals would get an exemption from that. It's anywhere from $5,000 to $12,000. Again, not a tremendous amount of savings there. But as far as the agricultural code, we at the appraisal district, we don't call it an ag exemption, but the common term is an ag exemption. It's actually not an exemption. It's an appraisal methodology where we appraise the land's ability to produce an income. We actually do an income approach appraisal on it. So in our records, we'll have $1 million market value on 100 acres, but we might have a $5,000 agricultural value for the ag designation. So instead of having to pay tax on the $1 million value, agricultural folks pay tax on the lower agricultural value. So that still exists. So if I own a 50-acre tract, 1 acre most likely would be separated off in my homestead, and I'll pay tax on whatever the value of that 1 acre homestead is, and then I'll pay tax on my 49 acres agricultural, whatever the agricultural value is. It'll still apply the same 2-cent tax rate. So yes, if people in the county have an agricultural designation, they'll still have the benefit of applying that 2-cent tax rate to their ag value, and then they'll apply the 2-cent tax rate to their homesteaded value.
When we did this last month, we made the assumption that it would be the same as it was way back when the hospital district had a tax, which is the same as what you're talking about.
Yeah, these same principles apply. What's different is the value. The value back in 1996 is way different than it is today.
Absolutely.
It's gone up tremendously, exponentially, some might say. But no, it would be applied to the same type of properties. The hospital district did not have any types of exemption that I'm aware of back then, and as of right now, you don't have any.
Right.
Now,
I mean, it's the same as the county does.
Well,
Right.
no, that was our failed assumption, was that we were, well, at least that's what it sounded to me when we were saying, okay, 1 cent is close to $1 million, 2 cents is close to $2 million, which it is for the county, but that's taking into consideration the 65 and over exemption, the disability exemptions. So
let me
because
give you a number and
Okay.
it'll explain what you're saying.
okay.
1 cent would equal $1 million. Well, the total taxable value, roughly, for Hood County is $12 billion. The total market value is $17.5 billion. So there's almost $3+ billion, right at $3 billion that's being exempted away or being taken away. So you start out with $17.5 billion in market value, and you take out the homestead, the people who are disabled, the 100% disabled, the ag deductions, tax abatements, everything that's been given away, and you wind up with 12.3 roughly. And So then if you apply a 1 cent tax rate to the 12.3, you get a revenue number, right? But the hospital district right now doesn't have any types of exemptions, so we go back up to the top there. We would have to take off the ag, things of that nature. Of course, the Wolf Hollow abatement will go away, so that will be added back. So and then what we don't know is we don't know what values are gonna do in 2025. We don't know if they're gonna go down, we don't know if they're gonna go up, we're not sure, we don't know if they're gonna stay the same. So that's why I come back and say, well, if we apply, I actually used a number of 17 billion instead of 17.5 billion when I gave you the estimate of 17 billion times 2 cents is roughly $3.4 million. But, you know, if you want to use a 17.5 billion, that would get you probably closer to $3.5 million. If you say, well, with other deductions, if we went down to 16.5 billion, it'll adjust down. So,
What if you go to the 12.2?
Oh, it will be, I'd have to get it's one of those, no one else wants to do that math.
And the county-
It'd be 2.4.
Yeah, that'd be 12.
That's what we were thinking.
12 times 2 would be 24, right? So it'd be about
We
2.4
don't want to
billion.
have any more tax than is absolutely necessary. And if the county takes into account age and disabled and aggregate and aggregation, agriculture, that's the easiest way to do this. It's the same way as the counties do it.
That makes sense to the taxpayers, because part of the reason I brought this up was that I heard people saying to me personally and on social media, this isn't gonna impact me because I've got this, and I'm like,
This you need to keep in mind that this is not a county tax. This will be a completely separate line item on the tax bill.
Right.
It'll be the hospital district
It's
tax.
a hospital district tax, but if we use the same rules for exemptions and reductions as the county does, that's not a bad thing. I
No,
mean,
it's not. No, it's not.
It doesn't, it still gives us enough tax money to take care of everything that we
And
are
I-
legally obligated to take care of.
Right, and I will tell you also a couple of things. One, in Tarrant County, they have a hospital district, and the hospital district is basically run again by the county commissioners, but the hospital district they mirror what the county does. So if when the county implemented its 10% homestead exemption tax, they put it on the hospital district as well.
Is that a legal perspective, meaning that we have to follow what the county's already
No,
done?
you do, I do not, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not giving you legal advice, but I do not believe you have to. The law says that a taxing unit may, and the hospital district is a taxing unit. You can do something different than what the county does.
But if we just use their same terminology,
Yeah, what,
it's okay.
in my opinion, yes. In my opinion, this board would
And
have
I
to take
apologize, we
specific
made the
action.
assumption last month that was part of it.
Well, the flip side of that is you just not do all that, and lower the rate down to 0.012 and be done with it. And tax it straight across.
Now, one thing that I would point out is that taxing units, they look at adopting their tax rates between August and September. During the month of August, that's when they're adopting their tax rate. This is a taxing entity. You would have to adopt a new tax rate every year. You could either adopt the same tax rate. If you put in 2 cents, next year you'll come back and say, do we still need 2 cents? Do we need 1 cent? Do we need 1.5 cents? Or do we need 3 cents? You'll have to go through that whole process of adopting a tax rate for the year 2026. Now, this is where I recommend you get legal advice from, if you have this election in November and the voters approve that, yes, you can reinstitute or whatever this tax rate, I'd recommend you get legal advice from the standpoint of saying, the action that you took last month, did that officially adopt the tax rate? I would, non-lawyer here, okay, I would almost come to the point where say, no, you didn't officially adopt the tax rate. You made a public statement about what you think the tax rate should be, and that you said we want to put it on the ballot in November. Because to adopt official tax rate, you have to go through the truth in taxation process, which means you have to publish your documents, you have to publish your I'm old school, and I have to think about the no new revenue rate and the voter approval rate. I'm a rollback and effective rate kind of guy. But you have to go through that process as well. So again, I would add to that to the legal budget, to get that legal advice from a standpoint
And that's
of,
what our legal thing
tell
is
us
supposed to
exactly
do.
what we have to do once the vote is done.
And that rate may be 2, and it may be 1.2, or it may be something in between.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think
Well,
you could.
there is no new revenue rate, it's all
Yes,
no new
no,
revenue.
100%. It would be the same, it would be the same.
It's a wild guess.
Yeah, and
Okay.
the other advice that I would have to you on this is that, and just from a timetable standpoint, you don't have to adopt an exemption today. But you do need, if you're going to think about this after the November election, pass or fail, whatever, you have until July the 1st of 2025 to decide if you're going to offer an exemption. So you have
And that's
almost.
legally.
Yeah, that's, I have to be notified by July the 1st of whatever a taxing entity is gonna do with an exemption so that I can apply it to the October tax bills. And
But what we wanna do is have the exact number, as close as we can get it, information given to the people who are gonna either vote for it or
Yep.
against it. So if we need to vote right now to say that we're gonna use the same, how do you phrase it?
Well, I think we,
Tax exemptions available, or if you wanna put it on
I
July's.
think we need to see the legal counsel.
We need to, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, because if our intent is to, and Ricky has a question or a statement, if our intent is to fund 2.2, somewhere around 2 million, which is what we've been saying, then we need to either, based on these numbers, either implement a lower than 2-cent tax rate or apply these exemptions. And to apply the exemptions, which are local options, we have to vote on them before July 1st. We can do it in January.
yeah, since July 1st is right around the corner, to be specific, July 1st of 2025.
Yes.
But
July
can't we put it
1st of
on
20.
right now?
I think we should talk to McCall about it.
I would, I think that we need to get some more information and
Yes.
kind of do some math.
Because,
Do we do it before the election or after the election?
Yeah.
Before.
I think that having that information up front
Yeah, absolutely.
is a good thing. I think that everybody wants to keep this rate as low as possible and meet the need. So if we're gonna do exemptions, we need to go ahead and get those ironed out up front, figure out where we can be on that, and then set our rate according to that.
Yeah.
What we wanna do also is make sure that if we adopt 2 cents as an example, and then we go through the exemption process, we're gonna be pulled back to a degree. Is what is left there enough for the indigent care program and the EMS situation that we're talking about?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I think based roughly on those numbers, it's, at 12.5 billion, you're looking at 2.5 million in revenue with 2 cents.
But you're gonna back that off with the.
That's
3.5 million right now.
3.5 without
The
exemption.
county's taxable value right now is about 12.3 billion, and that is you take market value minus all the exemptions, and then you wind up at taxable value. So the taxable value right now is at 12.3, market value is at 17.5. And the hospital district would be at the 17.5 number.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate. And if you all decided, no, we're gonna give the exact same exemptions that the county did, then you would wind up with a taxable value at the same county, which is right around 12.3.
I agree.
Okay, we look at this in July with the legal.
What was Ricky?
Ricky wants to say
Oh,
something.
sorry.
So my question, all you are doing with this election in November is advising the voters that you want to tax up to 2 cents,
Yes.
okay? That's it. Until you set your tax rate, it doesn't apply to anything. You don't get any money until the tax rate has been set, which won't be set again
Well,
until,
generally, they set them in August.
which means you'd have to be set this August to be able.
Well, but they can't, I don't think, I'm not a lawyer.
That's
but I
what I'm
don't think
saying.
They can set a tax rate this August because they haven't been
Right,
authorized whether or
so
not
it's,
they.
what I'm saying is,
tax.
that spends it another year later to be able to see the money.
that we were saying that it was going to be 2 cents, not up to 2 cents.
What, you're saying 2 cents, and you're
2
telling
cents.
them that, but you
Yeah.
haven't set your tax rate yet.
Right, we're trying to get the information and legality so that we can get this to the people, so that they can make their own decision on voting yes or no in November.
And so, right, and so they pass, say, 2 cents. You set your tax rate the following summer for the next
When it
year.
was legal.
Right, and I would think that that does need to say up to, because here lately, we've been putting 3 billion in valuation on the tax roll every
Yeah, I
year.
know.
But what-
Recently, so I think that if you get, you know, if you wait until next year, then you could be potentially talking about $1.5 billion, and 2 cents would give you 3 billion.
What
So I think the up to would be a good wording in there.
What Ricky's saying is that if we set it in August of 2025 to be on the 2026 tax
Bills.
statement bills, the funds won't be seen till the end of 2026.
That's correct.
Okay.
Is that what we've always thought? Okay.
Bank loans to cover everything.
Well, I think the thought process would be coming in 26, you would see funding, but you won't. You'll see funding until 27. So the amount of money the judge talking about's gotta carry you from now to January 27.
Unless we get a loan from.
Unless you do
from
something
bank.
different
Yeah.
financing, but I'm saying from
Yeah.
the taxing,
Well,
so
if
that,
it's, excuse me, but if it's the same fiscal year from October 1st through September 30th, it wouldn't be January, would it? It'd come in, the funds would come in as of October, or before October.
Well, theoretically, funds could start coming in around October the 1st, because we mail the tax bills in October, and we do have a certain amount paid. The cyclical trend typically is there's a lot of people who will pay by December, who wanna take off the taxes on their federal income tax, and then there's the rest of them will wait until January 31st. So the end of December of 2026 and into January of 2027. Now, my thought on this is that as far as taking action sooner rather than later, is if you decided today that you voted you were gonna implement the same exemptions that the county had, you need to be more specific than that when you do it. But you would be implementing an exemption on something that doesn't exist. You haven't gone through the vote yet. Now, I think you probably could come out and say, I wanna make a motion so that the public knows that you have the intent to seriously consider providing a property tax exemption regarding this, but I don't know that you should probably go ahead and vote today or tomorrow or next month on actually setting these exemptions until you know whether or not the voters have agreed to do this come November. But you have plenty of time after November to determine a tax rate and what exemptions you want to put in place again.
Makes sense.
Good information.
We have retained legal counsel, by the way.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, and
we can ask that question, go back at the next meeting and see what they say.
Yeah.
There's another question I would prefer you to also ask legal counsel, and that is, and I don't have the answer to this, is that a taxing unit other than the school district has the right to determine if they want to honor a tax ceiling. A lot of people think that when they turn 65 that they automatically get a tax ceiling, and in Hood County, the school districts, all school districts are mandated to honor a tax ceiling, but Granbury City and Hood County have elected to honor a tax ceiling. So if you have a taxpayer that lives in Hood County, Granbury City, and Granbury ISD, their taxes have a ceiling, and they've theoretically been frozen for many, many years. You come along and you implement this tax, if you don't act to honor that ceiling, then it's possible that their taxes will fluctuate and go up and down or go up or something like that. And then they will be confused as to why, wait a minute, I thought I had frozen taxes and now my taxes have gone up. The question I would want you to ask legal counsel is, can a hospital district give a tax ceiling? Can they honor a tax ceiling? I hadn't found that in the tax code, but this is not the tax code, I have some tax code notes here. I haven't found that in the tax code yet, and when I looked to the Tarrant County appraisal district to see what their hospital district does not have a tax ceiling. So, I know that the hospital district up there and the Tarrant Regional Water District do not have tax ceilings. And I don't know if that's because the statute doesn't allow it, or whether they chose not to do it. So that,
Continue to go up.
yes, they can. Well, and the thing is that the hospital district may set let's say they set a penny and a half, and then they keep it next year, but all the values went up, the tax is gonna go up. So I think you need to get legal counsel too, to say, can we not only implement these exemptions, which I believe you can we also implement a tax ceiling for people that are 65 and older and disabled? Because Tarrant County does not.
So for clarification purposes, you had talked about the ag exemption,
Yeah,
as we call it.
we can keep calling it that.
The 17.5 billion does not include any manipulation on the ag valuation,
Yes,
correct?
that is correct. The
Okay,
county-
all right. Just making sure that was.
Yep, you're right. To give you a number, the loss of value as it relates to agriculture is almost $2 billion.
Okay.
It's $1.96 billion right now.
And so it would be 19 billion?
No, it would be 7.5 minus 1 point, let's just make it, 15.5, let's say, 15.6 billion. So that will come off. And then if you give exemptions, of course, again, if you're talking about doing the same type of exemptions for the hospital district that it has for the county, you're gonna be looking at about 12.5 billion. You're right, 17.5 minus the roughly $2 billion, you'll be backing out about 15 billion at that
So
point.
that's still about 3 million.
Yeah, 15 times 2 would be 3 million.
Okay, and one interesting note that, Mr. Bob mentioned the other day when I called him was the 10%, homestead exemption impacted 13,600 homesteads.
Yes, we have, Cook County has about 13,000 property owners that actually have a homestead.
A wealth of information, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for putting up with us.
Absolutely. Any other, and I've already been working with Ms. Pavlik on a few things with her gathering information, so. If you need anything else, I'll be more than happy to assist.
Appreciate it.
Just want everybody to know, I'm a neutral party when it comes to this. I always tell people.
Just a number.
If you wanna give taxes away, you can. I don't advocate for or against exemptions in any way. Can I go back to work?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Should say, may I go back to work?
Please.
Okay, Commissioner Sanderson?
I don't have any motions to make, so.
Okay, we just need to bring this back up next month.
More information.
More information.
And then,
And as we talk with legal counsel about a possible tax ceiling and, going with the exemptions that the county uses.
Yeah.
Okay, is that a suggestion or a motion?
I'll make it a motion
Okay.
that we retain legal counsel to address that possibility of taking the same exemptions that the county does and about a tax ceiling on the amount.
I'll second that. Thank you.
Any questions? Any comments?
That's policy more than legal advice, it seems to me, and asking if these avenues are available, the tax ceiling, asking if that's an available, tool in the toolbox, yeah, that.
Well, we
it
get
was-
what we can do legally.
Yeah, okay, that's.
Because we don't want to end up with sheriff deeds in jail, okay?
is the motion to seek legal advice?
That's what I said.
Okay.
Yes.
I thought that was.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Hey,
Huh?
You, no.
Okay, you're a no, okay.
Christie, or you or Judge Massey asked for the law firm to be here. Do we need them here next time, or just? Do we need them to be, or? I'm sorry. Were you guys discussing having them here, the law firm that was retained?
I'm gonna contact them and tell them what the issues are,
Okay.
so they can either, it may be, write a brief, give her a report in a written report, or see if they wanna come down here.
Okay, thank
Because
you.
they're, most lawyers charge by the hour.
Yes, they do, and driving over here is an hour.
Yeah. At least.
At least an hour to drive over here.
Yeah, and back is another hour and a half. So it's 3 hours of traveling time, so usually I'd rather have a written report so I can digest it anyway. And everybody could read it.
Okay. We've done 4.12, now we go back to 4.8. I think. Did we vote on, yeah, we voted on, this people voted on. Gotcha, okay. 4.8, consider for approval and take appropriate action to provide the agenda to all board members via email 1 week prior to the County Hospital District Board meeting and prior to being made available to any member of the public. Commissioner Samuelson, you brought this up?
Yes, and actually, you must have been reading my mind because you did it this time. I think it's a really good idea to give us a chance to look at the agenda, make any suggestions or comments prior to it being posted or released, so.
We give it as quick as we can, but Dr. Cuban is the secretary and I'm the president. And pretty muchly you get what you're paying for, which is what we get paid for, which is absolutely nothing. We do this out of the sheer goodness of our heart for the last 18 years. And I get the agenda done as quickly as possible and post it to the judge. And if we have any suggestions, we add those as amended. And on the minutes, we get those out as quickly as possible. Since Dr. Cuban's not here this term, it's gonna be like giving birth to a sharp-edged baby, getting the minutes out. But,
Or just.
no, I'm against having any, I mean, we do it as quick as we can to begin with, but saying that it's gonna have to be 1 week prior to that, cause it ain't happening. And I don't want to go against the rules that you make out. We'll get them as quick as we can, but you can vote on whatever you want to vote on.
So, can they be sent electronically? Here's, so, I noticed that at the town hall that, Commissioner Eagle and I had to let the public know about the, upcoming
And we
opportunity.
appreciate it.
Yeah, that there was a member of the public who had the agenda prior to, that's how I found out the meeting was gonna be on the 24th versus the 31st. So I was just like, how does a non-board member have the agenda? And I didn't get it until, well, it was delivered
Well, it
to
was at the judge's office.
on Monday.
Yeah.
And this was the Thursday before, so.
No, the packets were at the judge's office on Monday, but the agenda got to the judge on that Thursday. And that,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, could that be emailed prior to the
The
package?
judge's office can send it to you after he looks at it and signs it, yeah.
Okay, well, the one that I saw on someone's email had already been signed, so I was just like, wow, I mean, I don't have the agenda, but somebody who's not on the board already does, and we didn't get the agenda until, well, I mean, it wasn't notified to us till Monday.
Evidently, it was somebody who came to the judge's office and asked for it. That's the only thing I can go off, because I didn't send it.
Okay,
Well, I give it to the judge's office for him to sign as soon as we get it done.
okay, well, I'll modify, any other discussion, I'll modify the motion to ask that the agenda be emailed to the board members as soon as it's ready.
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible. Because, I mean, I can go.
And I'll get them to you, and Dr. Cuban and I'll get them to you as soon as possible. The agenda will come
Yeah.
to me, but.
Yeah, I mean, just, if the agenda can be emailed, as soon as you have it.
As soon as possible, okay. To the board members.
Yes, email to the board members.
I'll second
Anybody have any questions about that or comments? There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none? Okay, it passes. Get you as soon as possible, ASAP. Gotcha. Okay. 4.9, consider for approval and take appropriate action to provide all backup materials in electronic form via email to the board members no later than 5 days prior to the scheduled meeting.
So
That's the
based
same
on,
kind of thing.
yeah, based on your, it's mainly just the email, because that saves all the paper being printed and trips to the judge's office, or requiring Brenda to put it in the interoffice mail and mailing it to people, so.
Well,
it
yeah.
would just be email.
It's like Justin Bowden's financial report, he didn't get it done until yesterday, because we had to have this board meeting earlier in the second Friday instead of the third or the fourth Friday of the month.
So as
And
long
that's
as.
gonna happen some months, because some months you just don't know what's gonna happen. You wanna have it the fourth Friday of the month, but that could be Christmas or Thanksgiving and, or the commissioners are all out of.
Like my reports, I do those at the beginning of the next month after I close out my batch. And then I deliver those to Justin's office. Now, previously, several months ago, I was emailing those. If you prefer me to email those reports versus taking them to Justin's office, I can do that. Cause it does save me a lot of paper.
Yeah.
A lot of paper. And then you have the option to print that out and put it with your packet.
Right, that's,
So,
I mean, if there's exceptions for like Justin, we met early, so he had to bring this, that's fine. But whatever is being hand delivered to the judge's office, if that can just be emailed to us so that we're not printing a lot of paper.
well, then I'll just email mine like I did previously. And, I mean, there's a lot of reports, so you can, then you can decide if you need to print it out or what you need to print out. And if you just give me a time frame of when you want it.
What do y'all think?
Yeah, I would rather get it in email personally, it's easier for me to go through and mess with an email.
Well, you have internet at your business and I don't have internet.
Yeah, but no, and that's,
so,
and I'm good with either way, but I would like.
And I don't trust the internet completely because I'm afraid it's gonna come back in Chinese.
No, I would like email to me if possible, I mean, whether that changes anything with paper copies or not, that's.
Well, there'll always be a hard copy, so I mean, it's, just whoever wants to email, you'll just send it to me when I close out my batch. In the previous month, the next month, then I will email
A lot
everybody
of people
that.
wanted to come by, or wanted to come by my office and pick up the hard copies and say, well, Dr. Cuban, you, Monty Lewis, wants to come by and pick up the hard copy. It's easy for us. You just email it to us.
Okay. And then
We'll
y'all can
get-
distribute it the way you need to.
And then-
That'll work.
We will email it to all the members then right away.
Okay,
So-
okay.
And
That'd
it's
be
not
great.
just, not just Krista's backup material, it's Justin Bowden's backup
Yeah.
material and anything else that,
Exactly. Whatever you do, then it'll save the paper copied from your end and our end too.
Okay.
So that's perfect.
All right.
okay. But if we don't have something
Yeah, just bring it.
until the last second,
Yeah.
No,
Just
we
bring it.
that's
can't get
still
it, that's
okay to
right.
bring here and
Oh,
bring.
sure.
Okay. All
All
right.
right, so, okay.
Now, I have no idea what the motion
I'd
is.
like to make a motion to allow, backup material to be emailed. Judge, you want it emailed to you directly? Judge, you want it
To
emailed to you?
Brenda Lanford.
Okay.
Just send it to Brenda Lanford, I mean, she's in charge.
Okay, I'll make the motion to have the backup material for the hospital district board to be emailed to Brenda Lampert and then distributed electronically to the board members.
And that was Jack, that was second, okay. I apologize, I'm just trying to get everything right, but I'm pretty sure I'll get it wrong and I'll get you scribbled
No, you got
to
it.
later, yeah, okay. Okay, any comments or questions? Thank you, Lord, there are none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, it passes. Okay. 4.10, consider for approval and take appropriate action, official audio recording of the hospital district meetings. Audio recording will be posted on the Pitt County website along with the minutes. I'm gonna say one thing for this. Anybody can make a recording if they want to, and put it wherever you want to, and if you want it on the county, that's fine. But for us, for the hospital district to pay to get an auto recording, that's just one more expense and more from the tax money, and you know.
Yeah, well, actually, my husband donated this device here.
Well, that's your recording then, so
Well,
you
that's
can have
yours.
it. We're not ashamed of anything that's coming, we've got all these citizens, we at least got 3 recordings being made out here right now.
Right.
That makes 4, that's fine. We
So-
have enough, we don't have to undertake this hospital district to say we've created an official recording.
Well, in the light of being transparent with everything, because this is a hard time of day for people to come that wanna hear what's going on noon on a Friday. So I would like to make the motion that, I'll do the recording, I have no problem, I'll just take this recording. But I'd like to make the motion that this audio recording be posted on the Hood County website along with the minutes.
You can do whatever you wanna do with your
Yeah,
recording.
yeah, you can do whatever you want
But
to.
we have a motion for her to make the recording, that was Commissioner Samuelson made the,
And
okay.
to post it
So
on
we need
the-
a second?
Well, and to post it on the website where, we just posted all the other information that Krista had last month. We have a lot of information out there on her, on the county hospital district website now, so along with the minutes, we'll just have an audio recording. And you seconded it?
I did.
Okay.
Seconded, there's some comment here.
Okay, so we'll get some comments. Who seconded?
Dave.
Dave, okay. Now we have questions or comments,
Yes, ma'am.
and your name, sir?
Donnie Stone. I'm
Donnie
just,
what?
Donnie Stone.
Mr. Stone. Okay.
I'm just echoing the commissioner's comment about what time of day it is. You know, it's noon on a Friday, it's hard for a lot of people to get here. I know that we do have, multiple people recording, but in the light of you guys asking for, $2 to $3 million in taxes, it's not gonna hurt you to be more transparent. I'm one of your biggest advocates of the hospital district, and it's really hard to defend when it looks like you're not being transparent or giving all the information to the public. I know that you don't think that, and I'm not accusing you of that, but I'm just saying the more information that you can get out to the more people on the regular basis, the more fans you are gonna have when it comes to, hey, not only are we transparent now, but we're gonna be transparent when we have $2 to $3 million of your tax money. That's just a piece of advice that I would encourage you to do. Commissioner, you said that the minutes are online. Are they online for us to be able to see?
Well, they're on the new website, so
Okay.
we're about ready to cut over to the new website. You can actually find it.
We just have to look for it.
Yes.
And that's my other point is, we've yet to see any minutes from the public's side of the hospital district board. So I just encourage you to be as transparent as possible, just to get more information out, because if you're trying to get people to agree to a tax in this county right now, I think we all realize that's a challenge in itself. The more transparent you can be, I think that would be better for you guys.
And I agree with you 100%.
Anybody else have any comments? Okay. It's time to vote for it or against it.
So the vote is for you to be able to take and record the minutes, and you're gonna put it on the website.
Yeah,
I'm totally for that. Great, good luck, all right? Good.
Oh, all right.
No, good, no, it's not hard. I think it's good, so I'm for it.
Okay.
Samuelson's gonna post it. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. You've got less. Congratulations, your recording gets
I have a
posted.
new job.
You need another one? Okay. All right, 4.11. Consider for approval and take appropriate action preparing an annual schedule of meetings to be adopted in the August board meeting for the following fiscal year. Changes to the calendar will be discussed as an agenda item and approved by the Cook County Hospital District Board.
August?
Well, I just threw that out, so.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. The only, I mean, you put forth, the calendar as you hope it will be.
Yeah.
Considering when Thanksgiving and Christmas and the other holidays are, and when the Commissioners Court meets and can't be there, and when you're going to classes that we did not know about ahead of time, but you know, sometimes you have to have special call meetings. So, you know, we can put this on the August board meeting to come up with a calendar, and I'll come up with one between now and then, and check with everybody to see the 2025 being the fourth Friday at noon, when it can be, and when it can't be another day, but we all have the rules that we have in our bylaws, we can call a special call meeting. So if something comes up where we have to deal with it, we can have a special call meeting.
Yes.
In addition to
Outside
that
of the
fourth
schedule.
Friday, or instead of that.
Right, I think what we're looking for here is how do we schedule around Thanksgiving, how do we schedule
Yeah.
around Christmas? The anticipated
And
dates.
last year,
There are gonna be
you know,
other
we did
things
it.
that happen.
And
so.
elections, they brought up,
Yeah.
sometimes there's, this room's used.
I'll come up with a calendar and let you guys see it, and at least by August, we'll, okay?
I mean, is August reasonable, if you wanna wait till September, I just was trying to, it
You're
just
right.
needs to be in place by October, so. Well, it probably does need to be August, because September.
Well,
Okay.
So I'll make a motion that I bring a calendar in August, but I'll get it to y'all before August, so that you can look at it and tell me I'm wrong, okay?
In a second.
All right.
I'll third that one.
Anybody have a fifth? Okay. Who was the second?
I did.
You second.
David was third.
Okay. Any questions? Any comments? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? There being none, it passes. Thank you very much. Okay, we've already done 4.12. 4.13. Consider for approval and take appropriate action, adoption of a formal procedure for public comment. Now, Commissioner Samuelson has brought that up and has a comment form that, you know, we've allowed people just to say, have comments. But if you want to have it be a legal thing where you have to turn this form in,
The only thing I thought, and people in the public can weigh in on this, is that some people don't know if they can chime in. So if you have a form and a procedure, they know, okay, I just fill out the form and then I get to speak. Or, that didn't sound right. I can speak on the topic I'm interested in. But if maybe you just announce at the beginning of the meeting, just raise your hand. I mean, I just want people to know when it's appropriate to speak.
well, the Commissioners Court, they have a public comment.
Right.
But it's at the beginning, it's not as you go through the meeting so that you
It's
can have
both.
the committee.
No, you can
come
speak
in.
on an agenda item specifically, you do that during that discussion.
Okay.
So it's kind of both. And it's, you know, and the time that I've sat on this board, I've looked out here and there has been 0 people show up to talk. Well, you can see there's some interest that has been fostered of late, and I think going ahead and putting a formal procedure in place makes sense.
I mean, when you walk in the door, there's a sit in front of you, you sign up if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your form up here.
Yeah, well, that's what I didn't know. I just put preside presiding officer, so I didn't know who to turn the form to, because Deeds isn't always here, so.
But if somebody doesn't fill out that little form ahead of time and figures out that they want to make a comment,
Yeah.
can they make that comment? I mean, somebody may not understand that they have their hand up, and no, you can't make a comment, but yeah,
Please.
you can, because I said you can.
I just want to make a comment that I just don't want to be, I don't want it to be rude for us to inject. And so to have a structure, it really gives people an opportunity to say things when you want them to say things, for lack of better terms. But I mean, it feels rude to raise our hands. You know, like we don't want to, if y'all are having a conversation.
You raised all your fingers.
I know, I did. But I don't want to inject in y'all's conversation just to make a point. And you've done really well today asking for comments and questions. I want to make a point to say that. But the structure of that, as we're getting bigger and there's more people here and more people want to say things, I think the structure is a good idea. I mean, you can be flexible with the structure and still allow people to say something if something comes up. Because for example, in Commissioner's Court, if something's brought up by another speaker and you haven't filled out a paper, you can't say anything. So there's been a lot of times, you know, we may have wanted to say something, but if you're a little bit more flexible with that structure, but just still having it there, I think it would be a good idea.
Okay, I'm okay with having the sign-in paper for, okay, that's not it.
Yeah.
Example.
Over there. That one. Having it at the doorway, when you come in, you can sign when you want to talk about agenda item to address and your signature. That's perfect. If we want to do that, okay. But if somebody still wants to raise their hand and be ignored, recognized,
The appropriate time, let them speak.
you can do that too. So just, that's not the
It's your
only way
discretion. Right.
to make a comment.
Yeah.
It's your discretion.
I'm
For
sorry, you moved your hand
example,
up.
I did not know until the sheriff made his report that you have someone in jail that has AIDS. Most of you in this room do not know, but I have a daughter that's had it for 25 years. She's had full-blown AIDS, and she's better, and she's full-blown AIDS, and this has gone on, I think, 25 years now. And I know that there are organizations in this town, not in this town, but in Dallas and in Fort Worth, that will give us free medication for these AIDS people, and I would like to pursue that somehow and figure out, I know because of the privacy, the names and so forth, it's a little bit difficult, but I would like to pursue that if possible.
But if you contact the sheriff, he'd be
I will,
delighted to know
yeah.
that. Yes.
I will too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And find out about the diabetes is a big one too, and then cancer shot too. You know, some of those.
Well,
do
we're
look
spending
at-
$5,000 a month, he said,
Yeah.
on just on this one person,
Yeah.
and this could go on for,
Yeah.
like I say, long-term now, they're doing 20 and 30 years.
Right.
That could go on and on and on, and I know there's free medications there, I know it's available, but I was very active with AIDS community before I moved here, both in Fort Worth, Dallas, and in Arlington, many, many groups, and I would like to pursue that if it's okay.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I make a motion to adopt the formal procedure for public comment.
Second.
Okay. Who was it, Sid? Dave? But we can, if they can speak, even
You're
if they don't.
presiding,
have-
presiding, so
So you
you
can
can question on that.
Well, I still live. Way out of that. Okay, any questions or comments? I don't see any hands up, so, all right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, it passes. Okay. All right. Then we're fixing to adjourn. Now, I'm gonna say that our next meeting would ordinarily be the fourth Friday, which would be July the 26th, and we'll have that as a regular meeting. But I'm gonna have to request that we have a special call meeting at least by July the 12th, because today I got the information from, the final information from the board of, the people who do our board of directors and insurance, and it's gonna be short, a little over $9,000, but I just got the information from it, and I could not put it on today's agenda. but it comes due, we gotta make a decision by July the 15th. So what I'd like to do is on Friday, the July the 12th, have a meeting that just applies to that director and officer's insurance, if that's okay.
It's a special call meeting.
It would be a special call meeting, yeah. You can come. It's not a problem.
It's a Friday.
Everything we have is open except for executive meet, anyway,
What time, noon?
yeah. So if that's okay with y'all,
I'm sorry, the regular meeting.
regular meeting will be July the 26th, and it will be here. And y'all are all welcome to come and bring anybody you want. You don't have to bring the tequila or, you know. See, you didn't bring it.
Next time I will.
Make a motion that we-
I'd like to make a
I'll be
motion
dressed,
to
put
adjourn
out
the
the
meeting.
chair.
Good call, Terry.
And the second one too. All in favor, stand up and leave.